XRP to send shockwaves through the financial system. We're going to break that down in today's video. So, what I want to share with you is on June 13th, 2023, there's a massive distraction going on. As we look this way at the Trump indictment, the whole financial system is getting switched this way. Remember, family, if you don't know the game, you're going to get played. XRP in the Ripple versus SEC case was all by design to slow down innovation in America so they didn't lose control of the traditional banking system. America is in a massive liquidity crisis. The policies aren't working anymore. They raised or suspended the debt ceiling till next year. We are in a very dangerous position as Americans. 120% debt to income ratio. We have more debt than we have cash in the system. Your dollar is my debt. My debt is your income. So we're in a very, very weird, precarious position. There's a massive liquidity crisis facing the banks. Everything is debt. Okay. So what you do is you walk into a bank and you put your money into a fixed account. They give you 0.25% on your fixed money. They take it out and put it into the variable markets and they index your money and they make a ton of money. When our Warrior Academy, we learn how to use our fixed accounts as transitory accounts, doing transactions, and we control our variable markets, the crypto market, stock market, not a 401k. We know what's going on with our money. And then we index our money for safety, security, and compounding growth. So description down below, join our private Warrior Academy, dive in 7 days for free in 2023. So we're going to dive into this, Warriors. It's so exciting. This is very exciting stuff. Okay. I'm going to show you a video from a professor that was on CNBC yesterday. She's talking about the lawsuit with Binance and Ripple. And then I'm going to show you Brad Garlinghouse and then Stuart Aldory, a video there. But we know what's happening right now. So the Bill Hinman emails got released yesterday at the same time Trump gets arrested. So we're all looking this way at Trump. And as there's a whole crazy shift in our financial system happening, we are very close to a Ripple versus SEC settlement. This is going to send shockwaves through the financial industry. So let's stop for just a moment and let's put our logical circuit on, okay? The number 3 crypto, I think, this is, correct me if I'm wrong down here, but I believe Ripple was not, XRP was number 3 crypto when this happened, okay? So you had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then I believe XRP was the third on the market cap, right? So Ethereum got a pass. We know that with the Bill Hinman emails now, okay? Bitcoin is a store of value. We know large companies are allowing their private clients to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. All the Goldman Sachs, all the big companies, as they tell you Bitcoin is a fraud. Ethereum gets a pass and they go after the number 3 cryptocurrency in the world and the most well-run crypto company in the world, saying that it's a security, signaling to the rest of the market, you're fucked. Excuse my language, but letting you know that we're going after every single ecosystem in the crypto. They go after the most well-run company in crypto. They say that XRP is a security when it's clearly a currency. We know that Bitcoin is a commodity. And then Ethereum gets this free pass because Ethereum is deeply connected in the banking system, family. Do your research of the interconnected webs around Ethereum and the infrastructure. So here we are. So they initiate a case against Ripple, right? And now here we are in 2023. We've held on like a tick on a dog. So this is not financial advice, but if I was somebody sitting here and people are like, oh, XRP, blah, 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 cut out your Starbucks and invest $300 in a speculative asset that you think might go to zero. Like imagine a world if it doesn't. Imagine if you cut out your Starbucks and you put $300 a month into the speculative asset or the speculative industry, and you cut out all your frivolous spending, you created a budget like we do in the first week in our Warrior Academy. Imagine a world if it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, going to zero. I'm very confident, but I'm not banking my whole life on cryptocurrency. But I do believe that next year we're going to see a lot of people gain a lot of income, but most people are going to end up broke because they don't understand the mechanisms of money, okay? We got to get out of the, I'm going in too deep into this, but we got to get out of the fixed income, right? Going to school, getting a job, putting in a bank, damming up your money. You have to learn how to control your variable, which is stock markets, cryptocurrency accounts versus just giving it to some manager to manage it. You need to understand how to manage that. And then you need to understand how to secure your wealth in index type products, building wealth with insurance. The reason why the banks don't teach you how to build wealth with insurance is because you can become your own bank. right? There's an infinity banking concept, but you have to be very disciplined. You have to understand the mechanisms of money, but we aren't taught this stuff because we're designed to be poor. We're designed to go to school, get a job, and trade time for money. Okay, so we're going to watch this first video here. And then we're going to dive into Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Aldery, who I think he's the attorney for Ripple. And I mean, they're kicking ass, guys. $200 million spent, and then Binance has a big budget to take on the SEC. So let's listen to what this professor has to say. She has some pretty good points, and I want you guys to hear.
Well, a few of the firms are talking about relocating, like Coinbase. Obviously, Binance famously doesn't have any headquarters. But Cathy was quite right to say that clarity in regulation is a precursor to any definite moves. And we can't have clarity in regulation until we know what crypto are. I mean, some crypto are securities, and the SEC case is really going to hinge on whether they're able to classify at least some of those 67 products as securities. But others, ADA, SOL, what we call the native tokens, really are fundamentally commodities. And yes, they're traded in investment ways, but they have features of commodities, they have features of Forex, they're cryptocurrencies after all. But until we have this new type of product, it's not an equity, it's not a bond, it's not a commodity, it's a crypto. And that will have to come first, and then we might get some proper regulation, maybe an international body will, like the BCBS, that's what we need.
I wanted just to probe a little bit further on that, because it does feel as though the SEC is going after ground here. It wants to claim that the crypto landscape and regulate it. Does that mean it will take that edge globally, that it will be setting the seat now for global crypto regulation, that other jurisdictions could just end up following the SEC? Well, I'm not sure the SEC are going to succeed. Binance have very deep pockets, and I'm not too sure about the financing of the SEC. But after all, it comes from traditional finance, from equity firms. And the SEC has spent so much against Ripple trying to classify that as a security. And with the House and documents, it may well be that Ripple win after 3 years, and they've spent a lot of money. So I'm not at all sure that the SEC case will succeed.
Carol, very good to see you today. Look, you are...
So let's recap what she talked about. She doesn't feel the we all believe her as well, right? But she talks about the fact that this is crazy. Like, these are clearly commodities, they're clearly currencies, and then some are securities. That's what you need to be careful of, right? A lot of these projects you're in, people don't understand what a security is, right? When you invest in something, you're banking on that project so for example, they're saying that if we own Ripple, that we are relying on Ripple or XRP, we're relying on Ripple of the success of XRP. They're independent. They can operate independently. XRP is a bridge currency. It can operate completely independent of Ripple, right? So we don't have an investment context with Ripple, but a lot of the cryptos you are buying that are securities, because you're buying the crypto, banking that whoever created it, the success of that company that created it, or the anonymous people that created it, that's the success of that cryptocurrency. That's a security, right? There's no intrinsic value. There's no real world solve. It doesn't solve any problems. And so there's a lot of cryptos that are probably going to get wiped out being deemed securities.
An eminent expert. I'm just looking back at all the things you've been doing over your career. Extraordinary. But your latest book is Corruption and Fraud in Financial Markets. Just a simple question. Is Gary Gensler right? Is this an industry with hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists, and Ponzi schemes?
Absolutely. There are bad players everywhere. Not to say that there aren't bad players in other markets, but the number of bad players in crypto. Crypto today is not what crypto will be in the future. We must have crypto. We can't have the digital economy without blockchain. We can't have blockchain without crypto. So it must be regulated properly. And at that point, we'll only have a few bad players, not so many as we have now.
Okay, so that was such an important point that I wanted you guys to hear, okay? She said we can't have the digital economy basically without crypto. You can't, guys. You can't operate. The new financial system is blockchain and crypto, just like Jamie Dimon and Larry Fink said. Bitcoin is junk, but DLT and blockchain technology, they're giving you hints on what is going to survive, right? They're giving you hints on what this Ripple SEC case is all about. As this goes on and they're trying to hold Ripple back, one of the most innovative companies in the financial sector, Think about this. Think about this. Why would they go after Ripple, right? Ripple's connected to Bank of America. Bank of America is not Bank of America. It's a global bank, right? Well, Jamie Dimon has Onyx, his own blockchain technology. Wells Fargo is working with R3. They're not working with Ripple, right? So maybe they went after that one because they knew it was the most disruptive technology in the universe, right? They're going to leave a dent in the universe. And so like, well, let's hold these guys back. Let's get our Onyx set up. Onyx is now working with 6 Indian large private banks in India. Okay. It's all a battle of power, guys. It's not about money anymore. It's a battle of power. That's what this is. So Brad Garlinghouse states it's absolutely uncontestable that a regulator, when presented with so much pushback on what he was about to say, how he compiled this fake test in the first place, decided to move forward anyways, and throw an entire industry into chaos. So we're going to watch this pretty well put together video here. All right, let's check this out.
Where he declared that a token is not a security. On June 14, 2018, then SEC Director of Corporation Finance William Hinman gave a high-profile speech where he declared that a token is not a security when it becomes, quote, sufficiently decentralized. But internal emails and documents show that senior SEC officials repeatedly warned Hinman that his speech wasn't true to the law and would greatly confuse the markets even more than they already were. Now, after more than 2 years and 7 court orders, we can finally share some of what we found in the Hinman speech documents. The SEC head of trading and markets warned Hinman that he was making up factors that, quote, go beyond the typical Howey analysis, as in not in the law, and that the speech could lead to not just confusion, but greater confusion on what is a security. Hinman ignored him.
If the network on which the token or coin is to function is sufficiently decentralized, and the purchasers no longer have a reasonable expectation that a person or a group is going to carry out essential managerial or entrepreneurial efforts, those assets might not represent an investment contract.
The same official told Hinman he should tie his speech, quote, more closely and explicitly to the Howey analysis. Hinman not only ignored him, but deliberately created factors beyond those identified by the Supreme Court in the Howey case.
I wanted to just note a few things. This list is not meant to be exhaustive, but these are things that we look at.
The SEC's own general counsel warned specifically that it's legally irrelevant if someone retains a stake in a token and is motivated to take action to increase its value, and that Hinman should delete it from the speech. And once again, Hinman ignored them and said without any legal support that it was important to ask.
As that person or group retained a stake or other interests in the digital asset such that it would be motivated to expend efforts to cause an increase in the value of the digital asset.
Both trading and markets and the general counsel also disagreed with Hinman's belief that if a network was sufficiently decentralized, information asymmetries would no longer exist, noting that a network creator would likely have more information than a retail holder, using Vitalik Buterin as an example. They warned Hinman that by creating this, quote, other category and focusing on information asymmetries, he was exposing a regulatory gap that the SEC may not have the jurisdiction to fill. Again, Hinman ignored them.
As the network becomes more truly decentralized, the ability to even to identify a promoter or to make the and someone that could actually make the requisite disclosures becomes in many cases difficult or and perhaps much less meaningful.
On June 4th, Hinman wrote that he didn't see a, quote, need to regulate Ether as a security, and set up a call with Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin later that week to, quote, confirm our understanding. On June 11th, the SEC's own general counsel advised against including any direct statement about Ether in the speech because it would be difficult for the SEC to, quote, take a different position on Ether in the future. The next day, Trading and Markets wrote that the statements about Ether were, quote, likely to create more confusion. Hinman ignored all of them and decided to make headlines, picking winners and losers instead.
Moreover, putting aside the fundraising that accompanied the creation of Ether, based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network, its decentralized structure, we believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The emails show that Hinman knew he wasn't following the law. He knew he was making things up, and he knew that his speech would result in greater confusion in an already confused market. But Hinman went ahead with the speech anyway, and the SEC, despite knowing all this, touted the speech repeatedly. The SEC chairman himself pointed market participants to the speech.
Bill Hinman recently outlined the approach we take to evaluate whether a digital asset is a security, and I encourage you to take a look at Bill's speech, which is available on our website.
The SEC knew the speech didn't follow the law. The SEC knew the speech would create greater confusion, and the SEC knew Hinman was making things up. So why is the Hinman speech still on the SEC's website? Why was it ever allowed to be given at all? And why has the SEC pushed a policy of regulation by enforcement, falsely insisting the rules are clear?
So why? Why? The two people you saw in that video, Jay Clayton, well, Gary Gensler too. Well, Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman. Jay Clayton consults for a cryptocurrency fund. He also sits on the bank bail-in committees for your banks being bailed in. Think about that. You got Bill Hinman, who sits on Andreessen Horowitz' $2.2 billion crypto fund. Guys, we're not going to get away from politics and money being hand in hand. You have to know the game. We have to decipher through a logical circuit, understanding what's actually happening. What's happening is a switch in our monetary system. As the lady said, you can't have this new digital economy or this new digital currency without blockchain, without cryptocurrency. It has been in design for a very, very, very long time. So we have to get out of these pump and dumps. We have to get out of these non-intrinsic value cryptos. We have to understand what is going to be the future. And we also can't bank our retirement off of cryptocurrency or the stock market. Okay, those are gambles. They're all speculative assets that we can do very, very well in. And we need to learn to secure our retirement and secure our wealth, right? And then we repeat the process. When everybody's in euphoria, you should have sold already, guys. So next year, when everybody's in euphoria, you should be gone. You should be out of the market. You should have an exit strategy. Right now, you should be, well, I am buying right now, okay? Dollar cost averaging in. Don't ever spend any more than you can afford to lose. Ever, ever, ever. Don't cash out your 401k. Don't do silly shit and mortgage your house. Don't get credit cards to buy crypto. I don't agree with that at all. You should figure out how to create a budget, create cash flow. If you have 2 cars, go down to 1. Do some stuff within your current life and create cash flow. That'll teach you how to be disciplined in your finances. Because if you're not disciplined in your finances and you have a lot of wealth that comes in, you're going to be very, very disappointed. As my CFO says, if you make $100,000 a year and you have shitty spending habits, when you make $1 million, you're just going to have $1 million in bills. Nothing's going to change. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. We're dangerously close. Stay calm. Stay non-emotional. Don't trip by the dip, diamond hand. Love you guys. Warriors, rise. Get your shit together. Let's go.